Hey folks, this is Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and most months I try to review a kitchen knife, but this is a folding knife. Well, this is actually the AMARE Creator. Why did I say it that way? The AMARE Creator, and it's produced by Real Steel Knives Factory for AMARE knives, VG10 steel, and AMARE says that this is their portable Santoku knife. Now, a Santoku knife is a kitchen knife that looks like this. The general shape of that knife, that's called a Santoku style kitchen knife, and this is supposed to represent that, but in a folding knife. There's no pocket clip, there's no lanyard hole. It's just a big folding knife with a good sized blade, and my take on this is that this is an excellent camp knife. Because when you're going camping and stuff, you really want to protect the edge of your blade, right? And how are you going to do that? You're going to get these big sheaths for your actual Santoku knife or your chef's knife or whatever? No. You're going to get something like this. Now, I've reviewed portable kitchen knives in the past. I remember one that was over 3 years ago that I reviewed. I'm not sure if I still have that knife. But this knife beats that one. That one was a German knife. I'll put a link to my video down below. My older videos are a little bit rubbish compared to my current videos, but you get to learn about the knife there. I think it's still available. So a large VG10 blade, fairly deep. It's got that sort of Santoku-esque drop point at the front here. A little bit of a belly on this blade, full flat grind, like I said, VG10 steel and G10 handle scales. And for some weird, unknown, unexplainable reason, the backspacer is the luminescent kind. So it'll absorb light energy and then it'll glow in the dark. I don't know, maybe for when you're camping and you're doing food prep in the evening after the sun's gone down. I'm not sure how long it stays bright, but to me, that's just a gimmick. Let's take a look at the rest of this knife and its unique mechanism for keeping it open and closed. AMARE calls it a slip joint, but it's a slip joint with a twist. So stick around. I think you might be interested, even if you don't want to buy one, just to learn more. I'll show you the insides of the knife and everything. Keep watching. There are full reviews coming right now. Now, one of my personal nitpicky cons for this knife is big satin blade, one touch, and fingerprint. You can really see it there. Yeah, there it is. Nice fingerprint. I just barely touched it. And, I washed my hands like 15 minutes ago. And, yeah, so I like stonewash blades. They don't show off that kind of stuff as much. That's not a big deal at all. By the way, this is a designer knife. And there's Tachi's logo right there. I'm just going to call him Tachi B because I always say the name wrong. As you can see right there, it says VG10 for the blade steel. And take a look at this G10 handle scales. You've got this sort of curved line here that goes this way, and that stops, from sliding forward if you got a grip in it. And then along here, you've got horizontal lines that offer, grip the other way. You've got a huge forward choil here. I can fit 3 fingers in there, just barely. If I go up close to my hand, not quite, but 2 fingers definitely. And my hands, are North American men's hands in the large size. Let's get back down here a little bit and that'll look better. So I can grip it back here almost completely, just back here. And if I wanted to, if I was chopping something harder, I could use it to chop away on something hard. Let's go on a bit of an angle so you can sort of see it, see what I mean. Holding it like this and chopping. So I could chop. You can do your pinch grip like you often do with a kitchen knife. And, keep your pinky back here and, You can do, really quick little chops. And if you have to chop harder, maybe you're going through a chicken bone or something, whack. VG10 can handle that no problem. And, it's well ground, that high flat grind, bit of a chamfer up here. And there's no jimping anywhere on this knife. Maybe it'd be nice if there was a little bit of jimping right here. At least I think so for when you're, working a little bit harder. Maybe a little bit texture here on your thumb to stop it from sliding around. But yeah, no, not a big deal at all. The handle, the liners in here, they're skeletonized. They're not all that thick to start with. Yeah, maybe right now is a good time to take the knife apart and show you what it looks like on the, on the inside. The handle scales come off without the knife coming to pieces. So I'll take a handle scale off, show you the inside, and then maybe show you a little bit more. So here we're looking at the knife when it's taken apart, the Creator. I'm not going to take it completely apart because I'm not sure how hard it is to get both of these on at the same time. It's probably pretty easy. Yeah, maybe I should. Let's take it all the way apart. I've got it unsprung right now. This piece of steel here is the spring. It's sort of a wishbone style spring, and it pushes on either side. And on here, it's like what is the stop pin on an internal stop pin knife. That pushes on the spring on either side to either lock it, not lock, but keep it in the open position or keep it in the closed position. So it wants to stay that way. So let's refocus down there. Let's take it all the way apart and take a look at this thing. These screws have a Loctite on them. So there's what each side panel's like. They're both identical. So it's thin and lots of skeletonizing. We've got phosphor bronze washers in here. We've got that backspacer. That's the luminescent, absorbs the luminescence. You can see that spring in there. And you can see the phosphor bronze washer. So the other side, the rest of that is going to be just like this was. So you can see how that works. So just imagine this over here, and that pin pushes the spring up like that. And then when you go to the other side, that pin pushes it back. But because there's a recess in there, let's get this focused. But because there's this little dip section here on either side, that's where the pin comes to rest. And so then it's held in place, and you have to overcome that spring tension to ride it up over that bump to get it back to the middle there. So that's how it works. That piece of steel is all it takes, but two of them make it have a good, reasonable strength of tension there. So I'm going to put this back together and we'll keep on with the video. So I like this construction an awful lot. You've got nice phosphor bronze washers. The liners are thin and light. They weigh 50 grams. The two liners combined weigh 50 grams. So not much at all. The blade steel here is very, very close to 1/8 of an inch thick. And the handle's comfortable. Maybe, most people, you're going to hold it a little bit like this because you're going to use kitchen food prep kind of grip. So I don't think that handle's too big for what the intention of this knife is. The handle's just long enough to take the blade, all of it right there, without having any danger of hurting yourself. Let's go over all the specs and measurements and all of that information about this knife. And while this is on the screen, that's what I'm talking about. So like I said, the weight of this is not crazy. 212 grams, 7.5 ounces. And that's a big knife. That's a lot of G10 here. The factory sharpness, 145 bests. That's good. No problem with that. Of course, I can make it a whole lot sharper when I sharpen it myself. And you should be able to do the same, because just basic sharpening in a sharpening system where you've got a clamped on and take some stones, and certainly hand sharpening, it can go over that sharpness quite easily. The length of the cutting edge 10.37 centimeters, that's 4.08 inches, so 4-inch cutting edge. The blade length, so tip to the handle, is closer to 4.5 inches, 11.37 inches. The blade thickness, 3.04 millimeters, that's 0.1195, just under an eighth of an inch. 1,528ths, actually. 1,628ths is an eighth of an inch. Blade depth, this way 4 centimeters, 1.57 inches. The thickness of the edge right behind the grind here, 0.58 millimeters, that's 0.023, so 23 thousandths of an inch. I would like it if it was a little bit thinner, but that does lend a fair bit of strength to the edge of this blade. We've got grind angles, 18 degrees on this side, 20.1 degrees on that side. When I sharpen it, I think I'll sharpen it 18 degrees on both sides, because VG10 can handle 18 degrees, no problem. Now for the handle length, 14.04 centimeters, 5.53 inches, so 5.5 inches. The grip area, and I counted it all the way to the front of this sharpener's choil on the blade here. So the grip area here, about 14 centimeters, about 5.5 inches, very close to those numbers. The thickness of the blade, if you look at it this way, you can see how the blade's thinner, comes nice and thick here, comes back thinner, and then swells a little bit on the back end here, but that's the thickest spot. 2 centimeters, that's 0.787 of an inch. So most of it is closer to half an inch thick, so very comfortable. The handle depth, that's this measurement here, 3.71 centimeters, 1.46, so basically 1.5 inches. And when the knife is closed, that measurement there is 5.26 centimeters, 2.07 inches. And the total length of this knife when it's open is 25.7 centimeters, 10 1/8 inches. 10 1/8. Not bad at all. Where can you find this knife? Well, this knife is not at all the stores. A lot of stores have AMARE knives, but they won't have this knife. It's a fairly recent knife, I think. I got mine from Drop, and I paid close to half as much as it costs at other stores. I don't know if Drop's going to have it again, but it used to be called Mass Drop. If you're not a member of that store, you should check it out, because very often they've got knives in and other EDC things, and they got all kinds of other products too that you just can't get for a better price anywhere else. But you have to be careful, because sometimes their prices are the same as everywhere else. So just like every other store, you do have to check everything. But if you want to become a member of Drop, you can become a member of Drop by using my link down below. And if this is the first time that you're registering with that email address, you will get $10 off your first purchase. That's US dollars. This knife in other stores, it's listed at 116 US dollars. And that's all over the place. My favorite store, White Mountain Knives, does not have this knife. But eBay, Amazon, Amazon.com, I got links for that down below. I do get a little commission if you buy from Amazon. And Atlantic Knife and other places, they're all 116 US dollars. By the way, this also comes with an orange handle, which is great for campsite, especially if you lose things easily or just misplace them and you want to find it quickly. A bright orange handle for a camp cooking knife. I think next time I'd probably buy one with the orange handle for exactly that reason, because I misplace stuff all the time. I think it's in Germany. AmareKnives.com sells this for 119.95 euros, and I think they ship out of Germany. Knifeandtools.co.uk has it for 122.95 pounds. In Canada, the only store that I have found it at was at herooutdoors.ca, and they are notoriously high priced in almost everything. But this one's actually almost reasonable. In Canadian dollars, it's $185.99. One other thing about this knife, the logo's on this side, and here it says 279. I'm not sure what the 279 means. Maybe it's a model number. Maybe it's a, like a serial number account. I don't know. Pros and cons on this. The backspacer's nice. The fit and finish is great, but it's kind of silly that it's a blue glowing one. I'll try to show you a picture of it glowing. And here it is glowing. So yeah, it's not as bright to the naked eye as it looks on the camera, because the camera sees some light and it tries to absorb as much light as it can. But there you go. It's not heavy for its size. This is a big knife. It's got enough of a cutting edge, at 4 inches there, that it's great for all kinds of good food prep. Not all kinds as an absolute sense, but for many kinds of food prep. Lots of it. It's durable. The spring detent system, that they have 2 of them there, that's great. It holds very, very well. You got to hit it quite hard before it starts to close. And if you've got your hand here, it's going to start to close and your finger's going to stop it on this dull section so you don't cut yourself. So I would really recommend, if there's a chance of something hitting the back, grip it up here and it's not going to hurt you when it starts to close. It doesn't open easily on its own, so that's not a problem, but it's not hard to open either. You just pinch right there and pull. It doesn't need a nail neck or anything. Many different ways to hold this. You can use it as a light chopping kind of action. Pinch grip, fist grip, saber grip. Lots of different ways of using this knife. The handle's well made and has good texture to it. The screws are done well. It's got a locking pivot pin, so it's easy to take this thing apart and adjust it. And it's easy to take it completely apart and no tension to put it back together. Unlike some slip joint knives, the slip joint knives that have the back spring along here, those can be really hard to put back together. But this one, if you leave it in the loose position, like halfway open, it's easy to take apart and put back together again. Just don't do it when it's either all the way open or all the way closed, because it's going to twang. The cons on this, well, I'd rather have a stonewash, like the fingerprints. The only other con, I can't see where the money's going to spend $116 on this knife. I think this is like a $75 knife, 75 US dollars. I think that's where the price point should be on this knife. But if this is what you want, there's not very many knives that are sort of like this out in the marketplace. So is $116 US bad? No, I just think it should be closer to 75. That's all. So that's my video about this knife. That's my, not a kitchen fixed blade, but sort of a kitchen type knife, a camp knife. I like it. Remember, like, share, comment, subscribe, all those good things. And do cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Bye for now.